Mr. Delay, as you know, since the election in Lagos and the announcement of INEC has, announced that the incumbent governor of the APC has indeed won the election, and if anybody wants figures, he really won it convincingly, more than doubling the votes of the next person to him, which happened to be the candidate of
Labour Party.
Of Labour Party.
Yeah.
But as we were saying before coming on air, there have been complaints. Complaints have been noted, they have been received, and we've got we've got commentary both from Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, other well-meaning members of society, the president-elect, and largely, especially coming from the president-elect and from the incumbent governor of Lagos, is that, those unfortunate incidents that were reported upon, that's not what Lagos is about. That's not what we're about at all. Sanwo-Olu made that point, as did Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said that he was pained to hear of those, skirmishes, isolated cases of violence, complaints that were recorded, that some people felt that, they were not treated as fairly as they could have been. When you look at it, we sort of, I think there's a need to put in perspective what happened, how it happened, and perhaps it is not as bad, even though if only one person happens to be a victim of violence, then that person will not really be, coming along with you when you say it is not as bad. It's as bad for me. So we understand there will be those human feelings. But so without in any way trying to shy away from them, we still have to be careful not to overemphasize or what actually happened. And so I wonder if you were to take a view, since you were out there observing, how would you characterize this last election in Lagos State that has just gone? I've said that we've heard complaints.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. In the first place, Lagos State is a cosmopolitan city, and over the years we have been living together. We have been living. Lagos is a
all peoples across Nigeria.
Across Nigeria, be you Igbo, be you Hausa, be you.
That's right. And we have sizable populations
people,
people of Igbo extraction, people of
even foreigners,
everybody. It's really a cosmopolitan.
Yes, it's a cosmopolitan city, and to a large extent, when you look at Lagos, you realize that even Lagos is even a mini Africa. Lagos itself is even a mini Africa. So on the basis of this, you expect vested interest in most of the happenings and developments in Lagos. And when we now see the election that took place recently, we realize that, really, and to some extent, there were skirmishes, there were, misunderstanding, especially prior to that election, because there were heated arguments as to how the election where the election was going.
And Lagos was, if you permit my interjection, sorry for that. Okay. Lagos was coming from the last election, which was 2 weeks ago. This one happened to be postponed.
The presidential election.
That of the presidential election. Okay. And Lagos had arguably been jolted, had been shocked.
Exactly.
By the presidential candidate.
Yes, losing to Labour Party.
Losing to the presidential candidate of another party. It happens to be Labour Party.
And it happened to be Labour. And in fact, even when you look at that, election, the presidential election, to some extent, we even need to look at what actually happened before that presidential election. Reasonably, like the Labour Party might assume that maybe they have a sizable number of people, a sizable number of people that will definitely give...
That fueled that win.
That will give APC a run for their money. But at least to some extent, the point is there were a lot of reasons, there were a lot of grievances on the ground that led to what actually happened during that presidential election. For example, the issue of NSAS by some, maybe youths in Lagos, they wrongly assumed that maybe it was on account of maybe the instruction of the presidential candidate of APC. He had a hand in that. Some of those people were it was a kind of protest vote on the part of some group of people like that. There were some people that equally thought that, well, after all, this, APC, this man has been influencing the outcomes of elections in Lagos over a given period of time. Why is it only this man that will be dictating the affairs of this?
And that wasn't necessarily coming from any other party. It might have been from the presidential candidate of APC's, party.
Of course.
This might have been, because we've heard since that people say that the Igbo voted in a certain way that resulted in the result that we had. But other people have said that that's not necessarily true, that there were a lot of non-Igbo votes.
There were not...
a lot of non-Igbo votes. A lot of, not a few. A lot of non-Igbo votes.
If it were to be only Igbo votes, they wouldn't have defeated APC in Lagos State. Even a lot of people from Yoruba extraction, even from outside extraction, because there were a lot of reasons which people had before going to that election. Okay. And that's, for example, the issue of the students, something I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's not only the students that protested during NSAS. It involves both the Yorubas, the Igbos, and the Hausas, and the rest of them. Even within the APC itself, there were a lot of grievances. There were a lot of, the caucuses of some groups that were not really in tandem with certain policies, which to them, they believe this is the right time for them to take their own pound of flesh. That is another group. Then another group is, well, no matter what it takes, another political party believes that, after all, why should it be APC that has been controlling the affairs of Lagos and whatever? Yeah. So there were a lot of reasons that led to that protest vote against, APC.
In that presidential election, voting for
Tinubu. For not voting for Tinubu. Okay. But this is the governorship election is a different ballgame entirely. First of all, they have to look at the track record of the man in question, that is Governor Sanwo-Olu. They have to look at his achievements in Lagos. That one will speak volumes as to whether we want to follow this man or we are not going to follow this man. They have to look at the policies of the man and even APC in Lagos, that how has it been fair to even the non-indigenous in Lagos concerning appointments in Lagos State? How has been people from other regions or whatever, how have they been benefiting from the benevolence of the present administration in Lagos State? They have to look at that. And not even only that, they have to look at even, in Lagos presently, they have to look at the right from 1999 up to today. The Lagos State as a party, APC as a party, what they have been projecting, how have they been achieving their policies, the party manifestos that have been benefiting majority of Nigerians that are living in Lagos State. So these are a lot of things that actually counted, that made Sanwo-Olu came out victorious in the last governorship election. So when you look at the reasons or the rationale behind voting against APC in presidential election, vis-a-vis the one that happened during that of Sanwo-Olu, they are far miles apart. That is the reasons and the rationale behind the votes given to Tinubu and that of Sanwo-Olu. They are not the same at all. So in essence, what I'm saying is, going by the last governorship election in Lagos, we cannot say that in totality, everything actually went well. That is understandable, and that is very clear.
There were some unfortunate incidents.
There were some unfortunate incidents, one way or the other, but that does not presuppose that at the end of the day, it will have a telling effect on the outcome of that, the final result. No, because these are insignificant scenarios. These are insignificant outcomes. In some of these areas, these are insignificant incidences that happened, that took place in some of these places. For example, like the issue of Amu Ward of whatever. And even the only man we said that was, that died during this governorship election in Lagos was not even killed by either the security men, neither was he the party agent or whatever that actually came. I think it was a kind of misunderstanding on account of the misconduct of some of these so-called those people that didn't actually behave well in conformity or in consonance with the dictates of the electoral manner of behavior. some of those people that didn't actually behave in a way that was expected of them, I think there was a kind of mob action one way or the other.
Yeah. You're right when you say that. Of course, everybody has been concerned. All adults have been concerned because the Labour Party is a national party. It's a national party.
Of course, it's a national party. And a registered party.
Yes, it's a registered party. And it can be an error to think of it as a party made up exclusively of people, of folks of Igbo extraction.
No.
Exactly.
No.
Now, it got to an unfortunate extent where people were using the shorthand of Igbo Yoruba.
Okay.
And that simply, that was as distasteful as it would be to anybody, because the very peoples that you are mentioning, these peoples we've been living together for so long.
For many years.
We have intermingled. There are so many. There's so many.
Together,
yes.
Renting houses, in
everything.
houses,
People have invested massively in property in Lagos, and they can only do that because they feel sure. Now, when this unfortunate statement, that by the way is by no means a new statement, something about what Lagos is a no man's land. Number one, that statement is not a new or a relevant statement.
Yeah.
That statement goes way back. But unfortunately, somebody went and resurrected the statement in this particular time.
It dug it up.
Yeah. And I've been listening to a certain gentleman, Joseph Okechukwu. I didn't know of him before all of this, but he's a commentator. Okay. And in his commentary, he has been putting forward the position that all of this is not really real. That there are people, fifth columnists, if you want, call them fifth columnists.
Who are working for some people.
Who are working for
agents of destabilization.
Thank you very much. And he said, if you really look at it, because this thing is a very easy shorthand, Igbo, Yoruba. That's a shorthand, but it might be a lot more complex than that. And this Joseph Okechukwu commentator, analyst that I'm talking about, it is his firm belief that this is the work of fifth columnists, people who don't want peace and are looking for someone to hang it all on. In other words, he's also making the position that this thing is not as bad as it has been made to look like. That is not to say that feelings were not hurt. That is not to
feelings
say
were hurt,
that there weren't any injuries.
But
these things were not for any particular coordinated reason. They just happened because
probably they thought they could make use of it, probably to to arrive at a benefit.
Of course. So right now, everybody is busy doing damage control in terms of what this has done to relationships, the psyche of people. The last thing Lagos wants, I think Sanwo-Olu has said that, the last thing Lagos wants is for anybody to feel unsafe in Lagos. That's not what they're all about.
That's not what we are. That's not what we are. Like, it is true. You see, those who are fanning the embers of disunity, I think they are not going. I mean, they are not doing the best. They are not doing the right thing. They are not. It is not this very moment. It is not this very time that they're supposed to be preaching, or they're supposed to be using ethnic divide to achieve a particular political result or a political gain. The point is, at this very moment, Nigeria is we're at a very tense stage, whereby frayed nerves supposed to go down.
Yes. Mistakes were made.
Problems. There were a lot of challenges. There were a lot of problems. There were a lot of tensions there and there. But at the end of the election has been conducted. It has been won. It has been lost. Then it is now for us to come back to negotiate, to discuss, to come back to what we are, to come back to what we used to be, to come back to operate, to discuss, and to integrate, so that at the end of the day, the benefit of democracy, which we are trying to get, everybody will be a partaker. So it's not a matter of saying that it's a win-win situation and it's a loss-loss situation. No. I mean, what I mean is, it is a win-win situation. That is, both Igbos, the Yoruba is the answer. It's a win-win situation for everybody. It's not a matter of some sections won, some sections lost. No, and that is what the president has been appealing. That's why he has been appealing to everybody, and even the governor.
There was the whole erroneous notion that the Igbos wanted to take over Lagos, and people ran with that notion. And I go back to this Joseph Okechukwu guy again, because he's been making some very reasoned submissions that how could, and I've heard it from a lot of other Igbo elders, it's just that we're hearing from the Igbo elders after the whole fracas has died down. We didn't hear from them at the time when it might have been.
When it matters.
When it might have mattered a lot more. That, hey, take it easy, take it easy. You don't even have to be right. You don't even have to be correct to cause a problem. The fact that we're carrying on like this, we're speaking like this, is going to be misinterpreted. That wasn't done then, but I have heard pockets of it being done now. And in the midst of all of this, things have been complicated slightly, I would think, by the current news. The Labour Party presidential candidate has decided to go to court.
Which is the normal constitutional process.
He doesn't accept the results of the election.
He has the right
not
to accept. But the point is, you go to court, you seek redress. That is the constitutional provision.
Indeed.
So we don't need to incite the public against anybody, either by your body language, either by your utterances. No. Go to court, and whatever the court decides is final. But presently, when the election was conducted and a winner emerged, it is still part of the democratic process. So, and the democratic process believes and knows that there will be free nerves at the end of the day, at the end of any election. And that is why there is a provision for judicial, that's why there is a provision for, and that's why there is a provision.
Please continue.
Okay, and that's why there is a provision for judicial interpretation of whatever grievances or whatever. So what I'm saying is, concerning those people that are saying Lagos is no man's land, and what is the reactions of the elders of the Igbos and whatever. Now, it is good now that some of them are now coming out to say that it is not actually so. But like you rightly said, or probably like you rightly observed, earlier before this time, I think some of the Igbo youth supposed to have been told
because that was part of the campaign, the infrastructure at the time.
Yes, because
and
some
so
of
people
these
now saw it as us against them,
exactly,
as opposed to political differences, ideological differences.
Whereas they're supposed to have been the Igbo youths. Let me
Although
say
the ideological difference, it would have been a difficult one because, as you were observing, Sanwo-Olu has spent the first 4 years, in Lagos. He's got stuff. He has a governor's CV, so to speak.
Yeah, of course.
And anybody else who was in that election is not on the same level as Sanwo-Olu. So that really worked a lot for him. But it doesn't make anybody else's chances an impossible task. Let's go to the election and see.
Of course, but that is the beauty of democracy.
Sanwo-Olu's service was standing him in very, very good stead.
At least going by his track record.
Yes. But now to go across from that and now begin to cause problems where there were none before the election is what is a big, serious problem. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Dede.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, you see, what we are seeing now in Nigeria, we have to find a solution before 2027 election.
Okay.
If you go to Abia State or Enugu State or Port Harcourt, what you are seeing now in Lagos, this ethnicity or tribal basis was meant to what was the talk of the town. And you ask yourself, Nigeria, we are talking about unity. Unity means that everybody, no matter your tribe, whether Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, the major three languages in Nigeria, we are all one. But when you go to politics, you see Nigeria started to this one is our own people. That to me, it doesn't make sense. Let's ask a question: football match or football practice or match? Let's say football match or tournament. Do we go there to decide about tribes?
Nobody cares.
That this one is Igbo, Yoruba.
Nobody cares.
We're looking for somebody who knows how to, as a striker, as a goalkeeper, as a defender, that is what you want. Irrespective of tribe, not there. But as you know, when it comes to politics, the top echelon, that is the people who call themselves they are the top politicians in Nigeria. And the youth will be there. Instead of them to think about what to do for the unity of the country, they start bringing all this. But to me, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
We have to be very careful.
Indeed.
Look, let us go back to history. At 70s. What was the cause of civil war? But Nigeria, we see that we are talking about, I come to television, we use all these toxic languages anyhow. Today, you see a debate in Nigeria, you see that toxic language, we use it anyway, we talk about fixing, which is not good for Nigeria. Go and find out the causes of Nigerian civil war. Up to today, I'm from the east, Abia State, Aruchuku, Atane. Up to today, after the civil war, Abia State, River State, Port Harcourt, Akwa Ibom, Calabar, up to today. It is not easy up to today. Go and ask anybody. My father owns a property, 102 White House Street, Calabar. We did not claim that up to today because of the civil war. Go to Port Harcourt, the area abandoned property. When we get of abandoned project, these are the generation of what causes all this civil war. But Nigeria going back because of politics. We have to be very careful. Nigeria, no condition is permanent. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okorapo. Just like Mazi said, if you go to the Super Eagles, for instance, or the female version, well, I shouldn't say the female version, the female team, you know, if you were to go there, you will see that is anybody in here? Okay. You know, people, when we're talking about the Super Eagles, for example, the Yoruba man will be rooting for the Igbo player and will be ready to cause a lot of trouble with the coach if the coach does not. You see, they don't see themselves as a Yoruba man or a Yoruba man, player or you know, they just see themselves as Nigerians. And the Igbo man will be angry with the coach. The Yoruba man will be angry with the coach if a player of high value is not fielded. Is not fielded. Nobody cares where you come from. So that's what Mazi was referring to. Which brings us to the matter of all these things that are causing problems. It has been said that it is the politicians who are causing all of this. It's not the ordinary people. It's not the ordinary people out there. But the politicians of the elders, so to speak, have put this thing out there. And here we are. We're now trying to mock up.
Because they are benefiting from it.
Of course.
Because they believe that if there is disunity among these people, automatically these people who are serving them, they are benefiting from them. So an ordinary man on the street doesn't know either you are from Sokoto, you are from Benin, you are from Muzuka, you are from Enugu.
It's until their leaders begin to make these toxic insinuations.
And that is during election. That is during politics.
It only comes about during election. I know I was saying earlier at the top of the program that Professor Lucky Akaruese would be joining us from the University of Port Harcourt. I'm hearing that the professor is now online. Professor Lucky Akaruese of the University of Port Harcourt is founding member of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum and former president of CDHR, that is the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. Good morning to you, Professor.
Good morning from the University of Port Harcourt.
Okay, we're going to try and make the best of the connection that we have on the line. If you can hear us properly, we're fine. We're sort of looking back to the Lagos election, sort of revisiting the Lagos governorship election. Everybody in Nigeria knows that along with other, states, there were these untoward happenings. I wanted your view, and we've been trying to sort of say, how did this come about that people that had, been cool with each other, that have intermarried with each other, how come we were hearing these disheartening stories of people, that are not of Yoruba stock, saying that they didn't feel well treated at all? We're looking at that against the backdrop of the results of the election. Your view, sir?
Thank you very much. Well, just let me chip in something before I proceed. think 2 days ago, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party was on there in one of your sister stations. The kind of invective and threat he put forward is quite frightening. So that when we are talking of the Lagos context in terms of what will have emerged from the last election, we should have that at the back of our mind. Well, I think the call from Okorabo.
Okay. You know what? As you could hear clearly, Professor Loko Akarueze was there, but we couldn't hear him well. So, but we're going to fix that immediately. We'll take a break. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back, and we'll continue to take the views of Professor Lucky Akarueze as well as the views of Mr. Taiwo Adele in studio. Stay with us, please.